Be pleased with where you are right now.
Yeah, I've always had the base, but I've just never had consistency to finish, so no, it was good.
Pro Twin action, we've got to start in the Pro Twin class now.
Well, the Pro Twins get off the line, but we still just want to finish here with Jaden. Jaden, a good night's sleep, probably going back to your own bed in Wanganui, but can you do that again tomorrow?
Wow, I hope so, but there's plenty of other guys out there want to win, so yeah, it's good.
Well done, ladies and gentlemen, for its first ever Super Sport. Let's hear it, Jaden Carrick. Well done, Jaden. Great race result. Well, courtesy of Display Associates, so great effort.
Okay, all eyes onto the racetrack at the moment. Dean Bentley, who won a race that last weekend at Taupo, was sidelined for the New Zealand Championships down south. The poor bugger was out there playing on New Year's Eve on a kid's playground and fell off one of the toys that even a child should be able to handle and broke his ribs, but he's out there in third place at the moment. We see, I think that was Robert Whittle, early leader, maybe. You'll notice out there too, Royd Walker-Holt was on bike number 12. It's the same bike. He's now a New Zealand champion with 274 points up till now. New Zealand champion, the current New Zealand champion, in second place on the track at the moment, but he's got the number 1 plate on, 1NZ, so he may be listed in the program as number 12, but he is indeed 1NZ on the Duke Performance Jury Performance Centre Mum and Dad and Pop sponsored machine. So well done to this young lad, nicknamed Hemorrhoid Walker-Holt. So right now, that looks to me like number 33, Doug Stockwell out the front indeed, but Royd Walker-Holt's trying up on the inside at the end of the front straight. 10-lap race here for the second race of the day. 9 to go, and in third place, Dean Bentley. So, in fact, no, slipped down to fourth place, Dean Bentley. It is indeed Robert Whittle on the Aberstads machine. Robert Whittle is not even in the program, so anyway, it doesn't matter. I think you should look at take a look too at number 16, Nick Southerwood. On the Fireworks sponsored SV650. All of these bikes on the field are Suzuki SV650s with the exception of Nicky Smith. And Nicky's having a good run too at the moment. Nicky's up into 7th spot over and above Sarah Elliott. Nicky Smith on, although it's changed, I think, no, it hasn't changed on the track. Nicky Smith is on the Kawasaki ER6 sponsored by, yes, it has changed. Sarah Elliott has moved through and is now in 7th place. So that's all the action here at Manfield.
Well, an opportunity as well just to remind folks that here on Monday we've got a Brian Bernard Racing rider day and track day. So that's a combination of being on a road bike or on a race bike, so we can accommodate either. It's a maximum limit of 20 riders, and learning such things as riding exercises, suspension setup, lines, throttle control, braking and other tips and techniques. One-on-one tutorship available as part of the day as well. So a great opportunity to be with the best in Brian Bernard. This is something that Brian does well. Probably you've got to say that we've had some of our top riders over the years have not necessarily been the best of communicators, but Brian is just one of those super guys. You'll come away from a day, you'll have a friend for life, you'll have somebody that'll be pleased to support you, whether you turn up around on the roads or the tracks around the country. You'll make a friend for life, and a super guy, Brian, and he's got so much to offer in that way. They are the best ride days you will do. And believe it or not, folks, $200. Now, you get a day just to be on a have-a-go day. Now, you're paying $100 for, so to have tutorships running with that, and a free lunch as well. So I'll tell you what, that's the best free lunch. You're going to get $200 for a ride day with Brian Bernard. Check him out. Brian will be back here as a spectator. He's just had to shoot over to Wanganui for a friend's wedding this afternoon, so he was able to spend a little bit of time with us, but it'd be worthwhile. Spider, Brian Bernard, one of the good guys.
Yeah, definitely. I'll tell you what, I've already talked to Graham Jeffries, that's Dylan Jeffries, bike number 16 in the Super Sport 600 class. They're on an ex-Brian Bernard Racing Yamaha R6 back from the days when Matt and Dave Sadowski were racing them some seasons ago, and occasionally we had Gareth Jones on that 600 as well, but they've decided to stay around for an extra day and attend that and try and improve on his riding, which is already improving in leaps and bounds, I think. Almost 3 abreast going down the front row there. It is Royd Walker-Holt, the quickest on the track, but Doug Stockwell takes it by 57 thousandths and over and above Robert Whittle. So the race is certainly not done and dusted. Dean Bentley in a bit of a lonely fourth as I see Royd Walker-Holt make the pass. So I think there was a bit of a mistake, maybe a missed gear there by Robert Whittle there on the 74 machine. But Dean Bentley's got the box seat here and has the ability to get up there. Dean Bentley running in the 16s. In fact, the top 5 riders are all in the 16s here at Manfield Park. So Royd Walker-Holt goes up on the inside at the hairpin. Doesn't need to worry about a championship anymore, because if you look closely at his bike, he's got the 1NZ plate on there. He won it. It's done and dusted after a spectacular first season for this young lad. Oh, mate, he's a good pleasure. He's a pleasure to be around in the pits as well. Always keen to listen and see what he can improve on, both his riding and his his publicity as well. Neil.
Spite of the story for me, though, is this man, Robert Whittle, that we interviewed down there before. Now, he's had his 21st birthday at least twice over, I can tell you that, by the grey hair. But more importantly, this is only his first ever season of motorcycle road racing. He says he's done some other racing, but it hasn't been with a motor. So there you go. What a background for this man to leave it so late in life, to have a pleasure and a passion. He is absolutely loving it and can't believe the camaraderie and the goodwill around people and just what you're doing and how everybody respects each other on and off the racetrack. He is just loving motorcycle road racing at the moment. What a neat story. So Robert Whittle out there, ladies and gentlemen, and not a young man at that, and this is his first season. So all I want to know is whatever else he did, I bet you it turned to gold as well, Spidey. You just know one of those elite sports people, no matter what they do it with their best, and they're showing whatever he's doing off the track is reflected in what he's doing on the track. So another great story of how these riders are performing in our class. A special hi out there to CTAS listeners. Remember, of course, ctas.co.nz, and the live timing wherever you're listening around the world, whether it be in this country or anywhere else. I love having you on board for us, and of course we'll be back Kiwi time tomorrow as well for the conclusion of this Bridgestone Championship for 2014. What a series it's been, started way back in January, Ruapuna near Christchurch, Levels near Timaru in the South Island, a 2.5-month break last weekend to Taupo in the Central Plateau of the North Island, and here we are at a place called Manfield in the mighty Manawatu, which is nestled just 160 kilometres north of Wellington, our capital city. So 2 North Island tracks for this conclusion, and it's been 3 years since the events have been run here at Manfield, because Taupo's been in favour for the last couple of years, and of course the new track outside of Auckland called Hampton Downs has also been in favour, but unfortunately it wasn't for the choice it made this year. So and as a lot of people have commented, Spider, and I think there was those that might have been thinking that it was a bad thing, but there's been more positive thoughts about saying how good it is to see the tracks moving and changing. No Tiratonga as well out of Invercargill. So there's definitely now made some competition for the better clubs, or maybe the better tracks, or a combination of those, to make sure that they're at their peak best when they're hosting New Zealand Championship rounds. Yeah, and certainly in economic times to compress the series is certainly a benefit to everyone, and it has seen a rise in all people there as well. So the 600 results are under protest at the moment. I can tell you that the 600 results are under protest to be possibly with somebody who's breached the tyre rule without marking them. They were allowed 5 tyres, 5 rear tyres and 3 tyres, front tyres for this weekend. You had to do your practice day, your official practice yesterday, your first practice session and qualifying, and of course the 5 races on those allocated tyres. So the 600 ones are being under protest. Having a look at the battle out there for the tail end of the points, and it is looks to be like it's not Jeff Kelly, it's Jordan Knowles and Aaron Sherrell. Aaron Sherrell goes up on the inside, coming into Higgins, the man from Christchurch, the man about class. Get him on the beer, and he's man without class. Sorry, the man about class. Glass. We're talking about windows and that. That's what he does in Christchurch. A busy sort of job down there, but man without class when he's having a beer. And I don't mean to be offensive by that. He certainly is a great man to get out and have a couple of beers with. Sarah Elliott goes through there in 6th place. She's had some worst rides during the season. She's good at improving. In fact, fairly good quick lap times there. 1:14 the quickest. Got a couple in the 15s, 3 in the 16s. So out in the front, it's still Royd Walker Holt. 4 laps to go. The battle is on for 2nd place. The battle's definitely on between Robert Whittle and Doug Stockwell. Couldn't even quite see who it was in that particular lap there, but certainly there's 0.1 of a second separate in the lap times, and as I say that, one of them makes a mistake, and that is indeed Doug Stockwell coming out of the hairpin. Spider, as we have a look at that, think that when we wind the clock back to last year, it was people like Dean Bentley and Nick Southerwood were the ones that were racing at the front of the field. All of a sudden now there's 3 guys better. And as Doug reminded of us, of course, that his background has been in Supermotard when he raced last here 3 years ago. So there is a new crop of riders, and particularly young Royd. What an exceptional young talent we've got there. He's going to perform to a higher level, courtesy of Dukic Performance. So well done to him. And you've got Royd at the young end. You've got Doug and Robert, both old enough to be his father. And then you've got Dean in there, the young family man, and super guy Nick, and also of course to Scott Kinder. Now we've had Scott up here in a co-commentary role with us for this weekend, the man from Geraldine in beautiful South Canterbury, and he's actually supported by Nick, and Nick was giving him a bike. Nick found out, and Nick's based in Auckland, he finds out this young guy from Geraldine hasn't got his 125 ride for the year, and rings him up and says, do you want to have a ride on one of my SDs? So the Watson Racing pair coming out there, and I think that's just part of the man that is Nick Southwood, one of the real characters of our sport, a sponsor behind the scenes as well in our sport, so neat to have him. But here you are, the turning of the tide, the change with these young riders. Royd Walker-Holt out there is the new young gun and already our champion, up against Robert Whittle and Doug Stockwell. Now they are changing results this time. Last time, I think from memory, Spider, was it Doug ahead of Robert? I think that's the way it went. So Robert improving every time. That was his first podium performance he got when we interviewed him earlier today. He's about to have a second, and he's going to be one up on that. So talk about improving in a real short time in this sport. So great stories out there as Spider updates our Shoei Helmets points for our Pro Twin class.
As we went into the race, Doug Stockwell had 173. We won't talk about Royd Walker-Holt too much. He's done and dusted. He can't be beaten for the championship, and he's rearing on #1 plate now. But second on 173 is Doug Stockwell. Third is Robert Whittle. 146 points, so we're looking at 27 points separating the two of them, but right now on the track there's just 4 points between them, so not much in it. Of course, they've got to make sure they finish a race, and we've got 2 more races tomorrow, so it certainly is anybody's game for second in the New Zealand Championship. We go down to further down to 143 points. Nick Southwood, he's in a good consistent 5th place out there. Sarah Elliott's going to move up in the points. She's not way down. She's sitting down there in 6 points. She may move up over and above Jordan Knowles, although on the track there's only 2 separating those 2 riders. So Sarah Elliott, you'll see her ponytail flapping out the wind on bike number 8, sorry, just single digit, number 8. That's where she finished in the National Championship last year. Now this was normally a class that would run within a class with the super lights, but they got enough Pro Twin riders to get out there and have a good old battle. Battle there too by Aaron Sherrell and Jeff Kelly, the Canterbury riders. Nikki Smith's dropped off the pace. Nikki is in last place, but she's still out there circulating, and her best lap time was in the 118s. She's now slipped down to the 121s, but there's 3 or 4 riders down that bracket, so I don't know whether she had a bit of a moment or she just backed off there, but certainly Nikki Smith, one of the people that's a pleasure to be around in the pits. White flag's out, Neil Ritchie.
Yes, indeed. It was just what I was pointing out. I want to say hi to our white flag man down here today, folks, to Paul. An amazing job. Paul's been around in the industry a while. He said today, his words to us, there's 7 corners on Manfield, and he's tasted every one of them. So there you go, man. It's been there on the racetrack. So nice to have Paul with us down there doing a great job on the flags and helping out the Pacific Motorcycle Club here today in their organisation of this great event. And yes, indeed, if you look back through the last 3 events that have been held here at Manfield for National Championships glory, it's been Pacific Club here in 2014, back in 2012 it was the Manawatu Orion Club celebrating their centenary and rerunning a motorcycle road race, having not done as many in recent times but what they were doing from years gone by. And also, in fact, of course, 2010 when the Victoria Club did it. Victoria, Wellington-based club, of course, having their AGM here today, and they also were the runners of the event at Taupo last weekend. So nice to have the Vic Club back on the scene again, and the way they run events, I'm very impressed with the Victoria Club. And hello, we've got now somebody told me Brian Bernard was going again, but he is here, and we've done our check. We're on the white flag. Spider, you bring them home, and then we'll talk quickly to Brian.
Here we go. Now looking out, the main action on is for 3rd place there, and it is between Doug Stockwell and Dean Bentley. There was a bit of battle there. You see Hemorrhoid Walker-Holt go through there and take another win, but 2nd place we're expecting Robert Whittle, but there was a dice in here for 3rd place, and it is going to be Doug Stockwell on 33, followed by Dean Bentley on the TSS Red Baron Stokes Valley Collision Repairs sponsor machine. Looking out there for Nick Southwood earlier on. Nick Southwood was certainly having a good dice with number 8, and that was Sarah Elliott. As I say that, Sarah Elliott sat up and pulled off into the pit, so she's all right, but she just sat up there. That was the ride of her season, so she's just off into the pit. Something went wrong there, poor old Sarah Elliott. But we're going across to Brian Bernard now.
Yes, indeed, Brian, just to catch up with you at the moment. Brian, I thought you had an appointment back in Wanganui.
I do. I've got a wedding in an hour and 15 minutes in Wanganui.
All right, okay, so hopefully... Yeah, exactly.